What?
What's your name?
Stop.
Who are you?
That is the place. No. Okay, so my topic is family fights, period. A great tweet once read, "Don't let this tainted self-love trend have you 50 and alone because you walked away from everything that didn't serve you instead of learning conflict resolution." So I want to start out by saying that when it comes to resolving conflict, you guys are very lucky. What I mean is that there aren't a lot of venues and scenarios where people can resolve the majority of disputes with a 5-minute cage round on a Friday night or a Monday morning ego check. Most people, when they get so mad that they want to punch somebody, they don't actually have that privilege. They don't get an outlet like this that gives that kind of gratification. Now, I'm not saying you should fight emotionally. That's a terrible idea. I get it. Be an assassin, not a psychopath, that whole logic. But this, as an emotional outlet, sure as hell does help you work through some shit. That being said, choking someone out can't fix every problem. Crazy, I know. But some situations require a slightly more nuanced approach. Now, I'm no expert at fighting fair. You can ask my husband. I've even earned some nicknames that I'm not very proud of. But I'm constantly trying to be more self-aware and more tactful in navigating conflict. So, I wanted to provide you with some things to keep in mind just to help you sort out some of these more delicate issues. And especially to really reinforce why this is such a great place to do just that. Number 1, know thyself. Look, I'm about to be up on my whole embrace your emotions soapbox, but hear me out. You have to talk about your shit. You just do. If you don't bring to the table the shit that's on your mind, your frustration can fester, and it'll breed resentment. And unaddressed resentment in turn can slowly erode a relationship with somebody that you really respect. So if you don't address your issues, you'll always have a chip on your shoulder about a person. Also, you don't have to like somebody to be respectful, to get along with them, work well with them, and yes, successfully address conflict. Anyways, as always, the first thing to keep in mind, you have to check your ego. Are you getting bested by your emotions or your pride? Are you projecting an insecurity onto someone? Is this coming from a selfish or entitled or immature place? And if you have unmet needs, can you say with confidence that you're doing your share and contributing in a positive way? Are you actually the one acting out of line? These are also important to really keep in mind when you're responding to an issue that someone brings to you. It's so easy to get defensive. I know, I do it a lot. But all of these are just ways to assess your emotions so that you can better build a valid case for yourself and your issue. No bullshit. Truly. Mark always says, don't bring me problems, bring me solutions. And look, aside from maybe some of the OGs here, I've probably had more one-on-one office chats with Mark than anyone in this room. And I realized something, that the reason those can feel so intimidating and intense is because you can't bullshit the guy. It can't be done. I've tried. I've really tried. I've had times when I was bullshitting myself and didn't realize it, and I was shown the bullshit that I brought into the room and didn't even recognize. So the coaches are the same way. Try bullshitting Yusuf or Jordan. I mentioned those two specifically because I have tried to bullshit them the most. So that being said, when you have an issue, examine it thoroughly from all angles. Then bring it to the table. If it's valid, no ego, no bullshit, owning your insecurities, it deserves to be voiced and heard. Number 2, know thy audience. Listen, as fighters, nobody knows what you're going through except for you guys. Not your jiu-jitsu buddies, not your brother who takes kickboxing classes and spars sometimes, not your wife or your girlfriend, no matter how long you've been together or how many fights she's watched or how many getaways she's been to. Or how supportive they all are of this as a career choice. And no matter how much they think they get it, they don't. You're cut from a different cloth. You have a different mentality than most that enables you to do this. Nobody can empathize with the shit that you guys go through like your teammates. It's such a humbling sport, physically and mentally. You have to allow yourself to check your ego and be super vulnerable and get your ass kicked over and over and over and keep coming back for more. It's the only way to grow and improve in this sport. Most people can't handle that. So, knowing the understanding and the shared struggles and shared strength of those around you, you gotta know and realize that these are your real supporters. Nobody wants you to succeed like your teammates do, at least here. You don't get to have a selfish kind of mentality here. It doesn't last long, it doesn't work. You guys are soldiers. Victory is a shared endeavor. You guys inspire and uplift and motivate each other, and you have to respect each other because of these circumstances. So my mom once told me that if you can't learn to fight with your father, then you'll never have a healthy, functioning relationship with anyone, because no one will ever care about you or support you like your father. And look, I'm not trying to make any statements about blood relationships. Like, families are messy and complicated, and the dynamics can get really ugly. And also, family means really different things to different people and always looks different. So, but the sentiment applies here. This is your family. These are the people that grind with you day in and day out. These are the people that go into battle with you. Again, no one understands what you guys go through like the people in this room. Not your father, not your mother, not your partner. Sure, they support you, but not in the way that these guys can. So when there's shit that comes up and you guys are beefing, at least you can be at ease knowing that it's coming from a very real and authentic place, from a person that fucking understands and believes in you. So you have to honor that and hear each other out. Number 3, know thy culture. On an even deeper level, know who the fuck you're specifically dealing with here at Factory X. Remember the bullshitting thing? Look around. Some of you newer cats might not realize it yet, but Mark and the coaches and the captains are relentless when it comes to curating a team and an environment that fosters a very specific culture and mentality. We talk about it all the time for a reason. Environments like this don't just happen. We wanted it this way, so we fucking made it this way. The fat has been trimmed. Bullshitters eliminated. Excuse makers kicked out. Slackers, whiners, cut. Energy vampires thrown the fuck off the bus. So everyone here is because you've all proved yourself worthy of being here. You fit in with this culture, or you're in the process of trying to prove that. By the way, that process is ongoing. You've all seen that. You share a very specific, no-nonsense mindset of growth and discipline and commitment and achievement. And that should earn you an even deeper respect for and from all of your fellow teammates. You all earned your fucking place here. And that, again, that builds camaraderie and connection and empathy and vulnerability, which allows for space to share your grievances and concerns and deal with them. If an issue comes up, it's coming up because someone really cares. What's that saying? The opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. So care enough about your culture to be passionate and be pissed and know you can be heard and deal with these issues knowing you're still family. Number 4, know thy time limits. It seems like the simplest one to discuss can be the most difficult one to actually execute, but you have to know when to move on. To step away from an issue, to forgive a hurt that was caused, hurt caused within an argument or otherwise, and just let it go. And not let it have a deep, lingering impact on your relationship. Really, this can be the hardest part. But if you both do the work to address the conflict with care and compassion and respect, this part gets a little easier and starts to come a little more naturally. But when things get ugly, it can be tough to do what feels like swallowing your pride and sometimes even feels like admitting defeat. But to take that deep breath and let it go and move on will truly bring you peace. Do you want to stay friends, or do you want to stay mad, or do you want to stay homies? And so on a final note, conflict can bring 2 things. It can bring change, and it can bring understanding. So by addressing our shit head on, you can come to better understand and better know your teammate, friend, mentor, coach, your family, and you can understand more deeply where they're coming from and get some insight into why maybe they do things a certain way or why they are the way they are. Or conflict can also bring a necessary shift in thinking or process. Like teachers always say, if one person has a question or concern, there's a good chance a lot of other people are wondering the same thing. So play your part in helping to improve the culture and improve your relationships with each other. I'll leave you with a parable that I read a few years ago. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard it. It's called The Tale of Two Monks. The story goes that 2 monks were traveling together, a young man and an old man. They came to a river with a strong current where a woman was waiting, unable to cross alone. She asked the monks if they would help her cross the river. Without a word, and in spite of the sacred vow that he had taken to not touch women, the older monk picks her up, crosses, and sets her down on the other side. The younger monk joins them across the river and is horrified that the older monk has broken his vow, but he doesn't say anything. An hour passes as they keep traveling, then 2 hours, then 3. Finally, the now very agitated younger monk can't take it anymore. Why did you carry that woman when we took a vow as monks to not touch women? And the older monk replies, I set her down hours ago by the river. Why are you still carrying her? So successfully navigating conflict creates a stronger, better, more connected, and more supportive team. Successfully navigating conflict is what actually builds teammates into family. Thank you.